Jacob actually went with his father, Jerry, to go fishing. They had a really nice time fishing. They went back to their house to catch the beginning of the Vikings game. And after the game ended, Jerry had the boys go outside with him and toss the football around. Just, you know, having a really normal quality family day. Patty and Jerry actually had plans that night to go to a dinner party. So they left the house around 5:30ish. They were going to dinner at a friend's house who was about 20-25 minutes away from where they live. But the oldest daughter, Amy, actually wasn't there that night. Jacob's parents told him that he could have a friend come hang out that night. We called his best friend Aaron, and Aaron came right over because the boys actually didn't have school the next day, so they could, you know, have a fun night together. So during the middle of the dinner party, Patty and Jerry received a call from Trevor asking if the boys could ride their bikes down to the video rental store. But Patty, being a very cautious mother, said no. But Trevor said, "Let me talk to Dad," and he actually decided to overrule Patty's decision and told them that they could ride to the movie store. He said as long as they brought big flashlights so they could be seen by oncoming traffic, that they were good to go. But only 45 minutes after getting off the phone with them, another call came in, and it was one of their neighbors saying that they needed to come home immediately. The neighbor said it had something to do with Jacob and him being missing, so he ran to his wife, Patty, and told her, "Jacob's missing, we need to go now." This neighbor then called the police and told them that Jacob was taken when he and his brother were coming back from the video store. According to Trevor and Aaron, who were completely petrified from this, the three of them were riding home and they were stopped on their bikes. And then a man approached them who was wearing a black mask and holding a gun.
I mean, I remember it like it happened yesterday. It's so dark out that you couldn't see anything, and I just remember the first thing I saw was kind of the flash of the gun. I mean, it was like a silver kind of flash. I figured it was just some high school kid or something just kind of pulling a joke on us.
The guy told them to get off of their bikes and lay on the ground. He asked for all of their ages, looked at them all. He first decided he didn't want Trevor, so he sent him running off into the woods and said if he looked back, he would shoot him. Then he looked at both Jacob and Aaron, decided he wanted Jacob, and sent Aaron running after Trevor into the woods and said, "If you look back or try to help your friend, I will shoot you."
I ran as fast as I could to catch up with Trevor. And then, you know, we went maybe 100 yards and he looked back, you know, and there's nobody there at that point.
Aaron said that when he finally caught up with Trevor, who was running ahead of him, they finally decided to stop when they thought they were far enough away and look back, but they couldn't see anything. So when police heard this story, they automatically didn't believe the boys. They thought that the three of them were playing with a gun. One of them accidentally shot Jacob, and the two of them were covering the whole thing up by making up this whole story. Law enforcement did decide to start searching in the area where the boys claimed Jacob was taken from. And of course, time is of the essence here because we're dealing with a missing child. So Jacob's family did everything they could to get his name out. Law enforcement was actually helping them with this process, getting posters up, and the media started covering the story, and they were getting completely flooded with leads. Now this is really interesting. This is Joy Baker. She is a blogger, and in 2010 she was looking for something to write about and came across the Jacob Wetterling case. She was absolutely fascinated and consumed by the story, so she ended up actually contacting Patty Wetterling and kind of started putting together her own investigation to what she thinks could have happened. Through her own research, which is really cool because there's a lot of awesome crime journalists out there who are literally making progress in cases or are the reasons cases are being solved. But anyway, she discovered that 5 boys all went missing in the same area between summer of 1986 and spring of 1987. This is Jared. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm gonna put it on the screen. But he actually was a kid who got abducted 9 months before Jacob, and this happened in Cold Spring, which is literally down the road from the Wetterlings. It was only 6 days before his 13th birthday. Only 3 blocks from this kid's house, this man approached him as he was walking down the street in a car, pulled up and stopped the car, and Jared started giving him directions. This is when the driver jumped out of the car, grabbed him by the shoulders, put him in his car, and said that he has a gun and isn't afraid to use it. He was then driven 5 miles away from that location and by this man, but he was let go. He was able to go home as long as he ran away and never looked back. And that was almost exactly what this man told Trevor and Aaron and Jacob. And the way that Trevor and Aaron described this man is extremely similar to how Jared described the man who, messed with him. He was average height and weight and had a low-key, raspy voice. And sadly, the years went by and Jacob was not heard from. On October 28th of 2015, a man named Danny Heinrich was named a person of interest in the case. He was then arrested, but here is the backstory on this guy. Back in December of 1989, so the year that Jacob was taken, Danny was actually questioned by the FBI, but they didn't have enough evidence linking Jacob to Danny, and he was let go. But Danny's DNA was actually connected to the abduction of Jared through DNA evidence on Jared's sweater. But unfortunately, by the time that they matched Danny's DNA to Jared's sweater, the statute of limitations had expired and they were not able to arrest him or hold him accountable in any way. But it was a good enough reason for them to search his house. And when they were searching his house, they found child, and obviously they immediately arrested him. So as part of a really odd plea bargain, Danny decided to cooperate with the authorities. And on September 1st of 2016, Danny showed the FBI where he buried Jacob Wetterling. And sure enough, Jacob was exactly where Danny had put him 27 years earlier. It was only about 30 miles from the Wetterling house, and law enforcement was able to confirm that it was him through dental records. Now this part is going to a lot of you off. Trust me, I feel the same way as you. This is really, really frustrating. Because Danny agreed to a plea deal and showed them where Jacob's body was, essentially allowing them to solve the Wetterling case, he was not charged with Jacob's murder. Let me repeat that again. Not charged for Jacob's murder, even though he confessed to doing it. He was only sentenced for one count of child. This charge does carry a maximum prison sentence of 20 years, but 20 years, that's it. However, this plea does not let authorities seek civil commitment as a predator. Therefore, there's a good chance that he will never actually be free.